Honorable colleagues, Amejaha is my name. Chibok, Damboa Goza Federal Constituency is where I represent.
The service chiefs are out of idea. We thank them, they have done their best. When they came in, they came with strength, they came with vigor, they came with commitment to end this thing. But now they are full of complacency and they are out of idea completely. We know this and we are aware they are out of idea. And I will move as an amendment to this motion, calling on the immediate replacement of the service chiefs in Nigeria. But I am calling on the immediate replacement, solely removal of all the service chiefs and their immediate replacement with the competent ones. Because the truth of the matter is known to all Nigerians. They have overstayed. And all courses under them are not stimulated to work, they are not stimulated to perform, they are not stimulated to end this war. Mr. Speaker, this is my position.
President Muhammad Buhari has effected immediate changes to the security architecture with the replacement of the nation's service chiefs. This comes after months of pressure on the government to replace them for poor handling of the country's security challenges. In a statement, Special Advisor to the President on Media, Femi Adesina, said the President accepted the resignation of the former service chiefs and their retirement from service. The new service chiefs are Major General Lucky E.O. Irabo, who replaces General Abayomi Olonishaki as Chief of Defense Staff. Major General Ibrahim Atahiru, who takes over from Lieutenant General Tuku Buratai as Chief of Army Staff. Rear Admiral Zubairu Gambo, now the new Chief of Naval Staff. And Air Vice Marshal Isiaka Oladayo Amo, appointed Chief of Air Staff.
Hello, welcome to another edition of Security Africa. For months now, Nigerians and their political representatives have been clamoring for change of service chiefs. Now that the president has hearkened to the voice of numerous Nigerians by appointing service chiefs, can this appointment make any change in the security situation across the country? Coming up next. Welcome back. To you, the service chiefs, you're all aware of what the problems are and what Nigerians expect from you. What do they expect from you? To defeat those killing Nigerians. These are the Boko Haram, bandits, kidnappers, herdsmen, cultists, and all armed militias across the country. Every armed non-state actor that is killing Nigerians must be militarily defeated. No negotiations with them, no payment of ransom, and no sparing of murderers as having been repentant. You need to send a strong message to all violent non-state actors across the country. The truth is that you are highly qualified to do this job, but you don't have the structures to get this job done. So, I want to give you a few tips and advise you. Number one, you must have the assets for real-time intelligence about the movement and location of these killers. This is very crucial for the success of this your task. Please don't ever proceed without it. Your old approach of fighting insurgency is like a blindfolded boxer getting into the ring with Mike Tyson. You can guess what the outcome can be. You can no longer fight this insurgency blindfolded. It is costing this country a lot in terms of casualties, loss of ground, and low morale. This has to change immediately. We have to provide you real-time intelligence to determine the location and movement of these killers across the whole of this country. With this, we can change the dynamics of this war within 90 days. Not 90 months. 90 days, we change the dynamics of this war. Enough is enough. You cannot fight in the old way any longer. If you want to do that, you are going to fail. So let's reposition our tactics and get in what is necessary to change the outcome of this war. Number 2, you must increase the size of the army by recruiting 30,000 additional soldiers to boost the strength of the fighting force. To achieve this, you need to decentralize recruit training to safer states like Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Enugu, Oyo, and so on. With this, you can meet up with the 30,000 additional troops in a short time so that you can do this job expeditiously. There are lots of retired NCOs and officers who are ready to help you as instructors if you make requests in training these recruits in other locations. The essence of having these extra 30,000 troops is to dominate all forests and border locations with technology and personnel. The idea of augmenting fighting force for now with vigilantes could make a lot of sense, but in the long run, it is a very dangerous thing to do because in time to come, these vigilantes and militias will challenge you for control of territory. Number 3, you must change your tactics of prosecuting this war. You must stop this super camp tactics. It's not working.
I raised an issue of super camp on the floor of this house, that soldiers created super camp deliberately to shield themselves against Boko Haram insurgents and other related attacks, thereby exposing innocent citizens to various forms of attack in the country. I said it, they remain in the same location, round themselves with a ditch or a trench, waiting for Boko Haram to come so that they can repel them. For how long shall we be repelling attack in this country?
It is alien to basic tactics and by implication, a connivance with the terrorists to operate freely as long as they don't come to your super camp. All that defensive posture and tactics has done a lot of damage to the fight against this insurgency. The second tactic that you must stop immediately is the US-style vehicular patrols in hostile areas. You can do vehicular patrols for just show of force and all that, but not in hostile areas. You know more than I do that the basic tactics of dominating a hostile area is the use of foot patrols, ambushes, fighting patrols, attacking enemy camps and establishing camps in the jungles. That is the way to seize the initiative and control any hostile area. Vehicular patrols as done by the UN troops is inappropriate in this context, unproductive and untactical, and leads to casualties, as you know. For example, what is the use of vehicular patrols along Kaduna-Abuja highway when the kidnappers and bandits have their camps in the bushes and hills around that general area? That is where they are operating from, and we are operating on the road. And to trivialize this very important task along this axis, it was solely assigned to women. Please, can we get serious with this situation? Why are we doing this? The insurgents can hear the sound of your vehicles from kilometers away, and they have two options: allow you pass or lay ambush for you. But if you dominate the area with fighting patrols, ambushes, and raids, they will be forced to leave that area or get killed, because definitely they will get into your ambush or meet your fighting patrols and get killed. These are the basic minor tactics taught in NDA and NA Depot. Our victorious ECOMOG troops never use super camps or these UN-style vehicular patrols. What this strategy tells the insurgents is that soldiers are not willing to confront them. So they seem to be saying, look, we are patrolling our vehicles, we will not come into the bush to disturb you. You are free there. So the super camp seems to be telling insurgents, look, We are here in large numbers in defensive position. Don't come and attack us. You can go and attack other locations. So, by implication, the troops are conniving with the insurgents. This is simple collaboration. This has to stop if we want to win this war, or if you want to make anything out of your assignment. You have to stop this. What has happened to our foot patrols, our ambushes, fighting patrols, attacking enemy camps and establishing camps in jungles? We cannot abandon the forests and hills for insurgents to operate. It's not done. Number 4, you must deal with troops in discipline. The level of indiscipline within the troops is unprecedented. You must root out cowboys, cultists, and religious fanatics within the army. You cannot win any war with troops that have no discipline. It's impossible. And that's what they have inherited. Can you imagine where troops will arrest their GOC and manhandle him in the war front, and you expect to win any war? It's impossible. Can you imagine where a soldier will cock his rifle and kill his own commander in a war front, and you expect to win this war? It's difficult. Can you imagine where troops will start rioting for being redeployed in the war front, and we expect to win this war? Can you imagine soldiers and officers discussing battle situation in the social media, and you expect to win this war? All these acts are acts of sabotage and offense against morale. You know that. And for us to win this war, these acts must have to stop. There is a serious problem of indiscipline on the part of troops, be they officers or soldiers. No army wins any war with unruly troops. Those who cannot be disciplined should leave, or you root them out. Number 5, there is serious infiltration of fighting troops by foreign interests. Most of your officers and men have been infiltrated by foreign entities. If you had listened to Lance Corporal Martin Sidakwini, who confronted General Buratai, he confessed that some people approached him to stop fighting for Nigeria, and that they will raise money for him to relocate to another country.
Good evening, fellow Nigerians. Today is 22 of June 2020. I am Last Corporal Sidakwini Martins, 2011-66 of 8655. I'm from 8 Div Band, Sokoto, Nigerian Army. I laugh when I hear people say, man, you know, go wrong. Even some of my friends, duly they tried it for me. They feel pity for me. They say, Kai, they can contribute money for me so that they will fly me out of the country.
Did you hear that? This nation was lucky to hear this confession. How many soldiers and officers have been approached in this manner? You can imagine the impact of this kind of thing on fighting troops. But who are these people that are approaching these our troops? Where is their money coming from? This shows the level of infiltration of our fighting troops. So there will definitely be sabotage and subversive activities when your troops have been infiltrated. You cannot do much with subverted or infiltrated troops in this war. Number 6, there are allegations of collusion by members of the fighting troops with insurgents and bandits.
But the peace in this state is under assault. There's an attempt at ethnic cleansing. In this, we must resist it. We must stop it. Every one of us must rise up. The armed forces are not neutral. They collude. They collude. They collude with the armed bandits that kill people, kill Nigerians. They facilitate their movements. They cover them.
Did you see that? The allegations of collaboration with insurgents is very serious.
It's very good that you are mentioning Bukola Saraki, who was the Senate president, who conveyed a Senate summit on security. In that conference, the DGSSS, that is the DGSSS, I think Daura, openly, in giving an overview of the security situation to the summit, in which the service chiefs were all in attendance. I was there representing PANDEF, Niger Delta Forum. The DGSSS, in a very patriotic tone, briefed all of us that some of the arms seen with the Fulani or headers, some of the arms came from the army armories and police armories. He briefed that openly. Bukola Saraki was present there, so was the present Senate President, Lawan, they were all present when this briefing was given by the former DG, who is himself a Fulani man. He said that the arms, at times seen with the Fulani headband, came from the, the identities of numbers on the arms showed that they came from the army armories or police armories. And the only person, the chief of army staff was present, the chief of naval staff was present, the only person who responded to the remark made by DGSSS was the then IG of police, who said the police arms, the share of the police was small. This is what is happening in our country.
Did you hear that? While this remains allegations, you must guard against this happening. If proven to be true, you must deal decisively with this, otherwise you may not get the cooperation and support of Nigerians in this war against insurgency. Number 7, you must deal with the allegation of corruption within the armed forces. There is this feeling that this war against insurgency has become a revolving door of chop I chop.
The military came in and they cashed in. And they have turned the Northeast into a cash cow. Military jumbo budgets, unaccounted for. I remember Jonathan was spending 2 billion naira every day on security. But there was no security. Hundreds and thousands of our people were slaughtered. And we also know that the army, more than anything else in Borno and Yobe, have contributed and enforced this so-called terrorism. Terrorism has become a multi-billion-dollar industry. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It is not only national, but it is international. But let us talk of Nigeria, because that is what concerns me.
Did you hear that? This is why many Nigerians feel that the war against insurgency cannot be ended, because it has become a cash cow for many. There are many cases of financial misconduct and mismanagement of logistics meant for troops in the battlefield. Some of the past security administrators and former service chiefs like you have been found to enrich themselves with funds made to prosecute the war. During their time, they had 2 choices: to defend the country or accept money from these insurgents, get rich, and look the other way while Nigerians get killed. Most of them saw insurgency, sat down with insurgency, had a deal with insurgency, and retired rich. They left insurgency and retired rich. Many of them that betrayed this nation that way are either in court on corruption charges or killed by the same insecurity they had a deal with. Now the choice is yours. Which choice do you want to make? To defend this country or retire rich and live insurgency? Whatever choice you make, I have to remind you that members of the armed forces are the first victims whenever insurgents take over any country. Go and check your history. That was what happened in Yugoslavia, in Libya, Somalia, Syria, Yemen, and Iraq, just to mention a few. Let me just tell you what happened in Iraq. When ISIS entered Mosul, most of the Iraqi soldiers abandoned their position, removed their uniforms, and went to their houses. They didn't want to confront the insurgents. So what happened? The insurgents entered Mosul, took over Mosul, and went to the army headquarters to bring out the contact list of all soldiers. In days, they moved from house to house in search of these soldiers. In one day, 1,700 Iraqi soldiers were gathered, lined up, and slaughtered by ISIS. Those who refused to fight were brought out and slaughtered in one day, 1,700 of them. This happened as well in Libya. So those who choose not to defeat this insurgency may definitely get Mosul treatment. History has a way of repeating itself. So we need to be very careful about how we conduct ourselves in the face of this insecurity. Number 8, you must change your concept and style of recruitment. Stop accepting lists of recruitment from monarchs, clergy, and politicians. This is why you are having uncommitted and indisciplined soldiers whose loyalty is not to the nation but to the man who submitted their name for recruitment. Don't forget that it is through these soldiers that your operations and organizations are infiltrated and subverted. You cannot win this war with disloyal and uncommitted troops. You have to know that, and I know you know. So go out there, recruit Nigerians who are ready to serve in the army and not those looking for jobs. The same politicians who submitted unwilling recruits will turn around and blame you for ineptitude. So recruit those who are willing to fight this war. Number 9, you must understand what and whom you are fighting. It may sound ridiculous that I'm telling generals that they must understand what they are fighting. Please, Nigerians, hear me clearly. The so-called Boko Haram, bandits, kidnappers, herdsmen or armed militias are assets owned. They are owned. They are not acting on their own. Nigeria is not fighting Meroa or Mesuya. I want you to just pause a minute and think about the logistics involved in over 300 people having motorcycles. Who bought it for them? Where do they get fuel to fuel them? How do they patch their tires? How do you feed 200, 150 people in a bush? Can you imagine the logistics involved in maintaining these people in one location, 2 locations, 3 locations? There are many locations in Nigeria. I want you to imagine the logistics involved in doing this. That tells you we are not fighting Meroa or Mesuya. Nigeria is fighting a well-organized, well-funded, and well-coordinated foreign-sponsored proxy fighters that are meant to destroy Nigeria and push it to disintegration. They have done this in Central African Republic with the same assets. They have done it in Libya with the same assets. They have done it in Burkina Faso, in Mali. Now the assets are in Nigeria. In all these countries where these assets are being used, the country has ceased to exist. Look at Central African Republic, look at Libya, Mali, Burkina Faso. Nigeria is moving the same direction. I want all Nigerians to wake up and support the service chiefs. I want all politicians to wake up. Every tribe in this country should wake up. These same assets are owned. Their logistics are well coordinated. Their activities are well coordinated. So we are not just fighting ragtag or Mesuya or Meroa. There are local collaborators masquerading as ethnic, political, or religious leaders who are coordinating this destruction on behalf of their foreign masters. The bandits, the herdsmen, and the Boko Haram are just the foot soldiers. Someone owns them. The real owners are shadowy figures who will ensure that you don't kill them or imprison them. And that is why these people are operating with impunity. They are being paid ransom for killing our people. They are moving in numbers with AK-47. So we all have to wake up and support these service chiefs. These soldiers are here on a mission. The fight against insecurity is looking very opaque. Here you have politicians paying ransom to these killers, a move which signifies sponsoring and funding them. What do they use that money for? You think you're paying ransom? We understand that you're sponsoring them by giving them that money to buy more weapons and recruit more fighters and feed those that are in the bush. We understand that. Again, you hear of political leaders owning up to paying money to pacify those that are killing Nigerians. You think we don't understand that? Or is it not true that you hear political leaders branding some bandits as good bandits, repentant bandits, repentant Boko Haram, and so on and so forth? To show you how badly this war has been fought, let me just give you an example. Can you imagine that Hamas will go into an Israeli town or village and behead 79 Israeli citizens? What do you think Israel will do in the next 48 hours? Can you imagine what Israel will do in the next 48 hours? I want you to imagine that. I know it is hypothetical, but imagine that Hamas will go into an Israeli village, capture like 50 or 70 people and slaughter them, and the state of Israel will just go and sleep. Can you guess what Israel will have done? I want to leave you to imagine the reaction of the state of Israel. If our reaction do not match what Israel would have done, then we are sponsoring and encouraging this insecurity. If this is the case, there is nothing these service chiefs can do. I'm sorry. These armed groups, militias and vigilantes, will never disappear. If you look around Nigeria today, you see the emergence of armed groups, militias and vigilantes. Do you think they will disappear? They will not disappear. Rather, they will grow from strength to strength to the point that they will resist national armed forces, because those who own these structures must have succeeded in castrating and destroying the armed forces and the police. And that is what is going on. You can see it happening just before your eyes. So you must understand that there are 4 components that give birth to the whole insecurity in this country. If you don't understand and separate them and then deal with them, you must be wasting your time. It's a question of time. People will start calling for a resignation again. Lastly, there must be cooperation, coordination, and synergy with the Nigerian Air Force. What happened between Buratai and Sadiq must not happen again. These 2 generals allowed their personal differences to destroy the battle synergy and complements of the Nigerian Army and the Nigerian Air Force. The success of Vehicular was largely due to the synergy and role of the Nigerian Air Force. During the Ecomog days, I remember being frequently ambushed between Kenema and Freetown in Sierra Leone each time we moved to collect our logistics. This ambush happens every time we go for logistics every month. We attacked on our way in and our way out. It was the Nigerian Air Force that gave us the air cover and dealt with any ambush sites along the route. Again, when being cut off and surrounded in Joe Camp in Freetown, Sierra Leone, during the Ecomog days, it was the Nigerian Air Force that broke the siege and destroyed all enemy locations surrounding the Nigerian troops. This gave the Nigerian Army the cover to march into Freetown to gain victory. That is how helpful the synergy between 2 services can be. If it worked for us in the Ecomoc days, it can still work for us in today's fight against insurgency. So, to conclude, don't get into the war without real-time intelligence. If you do, I'm sorry you will find your task very difficult. You must deal with indiscipline, deal with corruption and subversion of your troops. Very, very important. So with all this, I'm confident that you will definitely make a difference in this your term. This job can be done within 90 days, and I mean it. Within 90 days, the battle situation can change from the northeast, northwest to north central, and across the whole country, and our highways will be freed. This is doable if you can listen to these tips. Once more, I congratulate you, God bless you, and thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.